Lisa. I'm back with the complementary page to this page that I did in my last video. These photos were taken about a week or so before Thanksgiving, and Christmas decorations were out in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, where we were visiting. So I used some Christmas themed papers for this page, and I'm going to use some more of them for the other page that will go with it in the album. And I call it a complementary page because the two pages are going to be side by side in my album. They're from the same trip, some stuff on the same day, different days, but still the same trip. And I'm going to use the same papers and similar embellishments, but I'm telling, in some cases, two different stories. I'm actually going to put the journaling from this over on the other page, but it will have a separate title and a little bit different theme to the page. So they go together, but they tell two somewhat different stories. So I consider them a complementary page rather than a two-pager. Now, the photos for this one is when we were on this trip, my husband and I took a long walk, sort of a hike. It's a very easy trail outside of Gatlinburg at the Sugarlands Trail. It goes all the way to the Visitor Center if you want to go that far. We don't usually, we walk all the way through town and then down the trail and back, and we were gone for nearly 3 hours. Great walk. It was just wonderful to get out, and we did get to see some of the areas where that had the fire, which was a terrible thing that happened in that community a little over a year ago now. But it was a lovely day this day that we got to be out. So I have some photos from that, and I'm going to use some more of these papers from 25th and Pine from Basic Gray. I'm using from one of my sketchbooks this 5-photo sketch, except I'm going to flip it upside down. I'm going to take the small photos and put at the top, and the larger photos at the bottom. These are 4x6s. Mine are smaller than that, but that's the arrangement. So I'm going to have a 5-photo arrangement with these photos on top, and then these kind of fun ones of my husband climbing into this tree. At one point he said, "Hurry up and take the picture before something crawls out and gets me," because, you know, we didn't know what was down in this thing, but I'm sure there have been other people who've climbed in there to have their picture taken. This was not a victim of the fire. It's just the way that tree was, I think. So anyway, I need to pick some background papers. I may or may not use some of the same stickers for the title. I haven't even decided what the title for this page is going to be, but I know I want to use a lot of these same papers. Now, the sketchbooks, you'll see some information in my social media about I'm retiring my classes. I am not planning to get rid of the sketchbooks. The way they're purchased will change, and I'll deal with that next month, and have some information about that if anybody still wants to purchase a sketchbook. Those are not going away, but if you are interested in any of my classes, those are going to be going away. The last day to purchase them will be February the 5th. You'll still be able to access the videos until October. So just keep that in mind if you're interested in the 2-page terrific or the cardstock class or the living page or the stencil or class, any of those. Those are about to disappear on us. Now, for this page, let's look at some papers that we like. I'll pull some of these embellishments out here separate and see what I like. I know I love this brown with it. I think that goes well. One of the main reasons I liked this paper was it had so many great things for nature in it. And I have 2 of each sheet. Now, I know I'm not going to be using those, the navies, so I'll just get those out of the way. Although I could do some with the blue. I may not. I want those. This page had this paper behind it. I'm looking, I think, maybe at more this one. Yeah, this would be a great one to use the whole back, because this is probably something I would never use. So I might as well use this for the background. Just use up that whole page. And unlike my sketch, my photos being smaller are not going to spread all the way to the edges of the paper. So I'm going to have a little bit more room to put some more papers and embellishments, and mainly to have some journaling. This one was designed for a little pull-out to have the journaling, but I've got room to probably put the journaling directly on the page. We'll just see how it goes. Now, and I had the title in the middle here before. I may stick with that, but I might split these photos and have a little bit more room for the title, something to that effect. So I probably won't need that. I probably won't use this green paper if I'm going to use that one. But I will use this brown. I'm going to use some of the red, which ties in to these two. And I may use this beige. That would also make a good background paper. I could do the beige for the background. And then do these three with the green behind the photos. You know, I kind of like that, I think. And I think that, again, that's a good match with this. I think I'm going to do that instead. I think I'm going to use the beige background, which is the back side of this paper, and some of this green, red, and brown cut up. So we'll put these away for another project. So those are the papers I want to use. Now let's look at some of these embellishments. And I would love to get one of these on there. I didn't get to do that before, but I could probably put a banner along here, and these work on both sides. So it could be something simple. Ooh, like these stars. Yeah, I think I kind of like this star one. Maybe pop that out and put that across there. I knew I want the tree. Maybe the stars some more, or some of those, or joy. Joy would be kind of fun. Probably not going to use those. Let's keep these handy. Those ones we may use. So we can do some more of this. Now on this page, I had it at the bottom. I could just continue it along at the bottom here. But I have all my photos up here, so I'm thinking about moving it up here and letting this be behind these photos. So something that goes all the way across, and then do a smaller bit of this and this under these two photos. And then we'll have place for journaling and add a little bit. Where do we have embellishments here? We have them here, here, and here. So we could do like joy down here, maybe the tree. Yeah, I'm kind of seeing how this is going. I have trimmed down the photos and some of the papers that are going to go in the backgrounds. Just the red one's going to go all the way across, and the others in strips like the sketch shows. I think I'll put the banner down towards the bottom in between those other two photos, and then I can put the title up in between the three photos and the two at the bottom, which is a little bit different place than I had originally thought. And I also thought on the banner would be a good place to stick some of those little wood veneer stars. I have a lot of wood veneer on the complementary page to this, so I can use the stars with the brown background, and I can actually flip a few of them over and get some of the color in there as well without going overboard on all that color. There was a lot of yellow in that banner, and I don't really have any yellow on my page, so I didn't want to do a whole lot with that. Okay, just kind of playing with how things are organized, whether joy's going on the left or the right, whether the tree's going on the left or the right. And I finally decided to put both of those over towards the right, and then looking at maybe some other embellishment on the left. There's going to be a fair amount of journaling, so I need to have some room for that also. This is where I'm kind of playing, and then I decided to put the title under the three photos. And for the title, the green stickers that I had before don't really show up as much here, so I've got some red stickers out. I do want to hang that joy wood veneer piece from the garland, so I've gone through a couple of red ribbons and found one that I'm just going to tie a piece of twine around to, because I have very little of it left, and to make a little bit of color there over the joy thing. So the title, I'm adding a couple of words underneath on the bottom of one of the photos. And then it's going to have the name of the trail on there. That's what I start out with. Now I'm using these stickers because they match the stickers from the other page. If I were truly doing this as a standalone page, I would probably use thickers here because I've got room to have something a little bit larger. What I realized after I put the trail on here is that, and I kind of left it overnight and I was looking at it, I thought that's an awfully dinky little title. or I had the park. I think I changed it from the park to the trail. And then I looked at it overnight and I realized that's just too small. It's just not enough of a title. So I decided to do the full name of the trail, the Sugarland Trail. And that's one of the advantages of stickers, is you often get a lot more stickers than you do thickers, and so I had enough letters there to put the Sugarland Trail. After moving them around a few times, though, they didn't stick really well. So the way I held them down was to stitch over them and then do a little bit of adhesive to hold them. And I mentioned that again later on in the video. Now what I'm doing here is I have typed my journaling on the typewriter, and I did it on a piece of fairly plain 6x6 paper. A lot of times in your 6x6 pad you'll have some really plain solid papers. They're great for this kind of thing, for the journaling. And so let's take a look at this completed page. To hold the lettering down, I just stitched over it and then added a little bit of additional adhesive. I've used a few stickles to decorate. That one looks like I brushed it off. I'll have to redo it. I added one of the stars. It's going to kind of match the other page, and then I added a little bit more journaling here and got quite a bit in. Just a few words. Sometimes you can really summarize the things that happened. So the sketch that I was using, I've flipped it upside down, and then I've put the 3 photos on top and then the 2 smaller ones on the bottom, and the title between the 3 photos and one of the single photos. But my photos are smaller, so I had a little bit more room here. I've got strips of paper behind, and instead of having a hidden journaling, I went ahead and had room to place the journaling and also to add one of the garlands that came from that collection with some embellishments. I think I had larger and more prominent embellishments on this page, and in this one I have a little bit more subtle ones. So I've been billing this as a complementary page. In a complementary page, you're using the same papers and things, and the pages go together, but they may tell different stories. They'll each have their own title, and they could stand alone. These could, except for one thing. I added the word "and." So this looks like it's a continuing title. The Village in Gatlinburg and the Sugarland Trail. And it does sort of go together. This page could certainly stand alone, although it doesn't have any journaling. The journaling is over here. And this page, if without the word "and," could stand alone. I am going to add the date, probably with one of my little... let's get the right one out here that has dates on it. The date down here at the bottom for this page, just stamp that on, since I have this nice easy background that I can stamp onto. Nice neutral there. So I hope you've enjoyed these, whether you think of them as a 2-pager or 2 pages that go together in my album. And if you are interested in any of the classes, remember that they will no longer be available for purchase after February the 5th. Around lunchtime is when I'm going to cut that off. And then, but you'll still have several months if you have a class to view the videos. The videos will still be out there until early October. So thank you so much to all who have purchased classes or sketchbooks and things in the past. I really appreciate it. I do intend to keep the sketchbooks available. There'll be a different mechanism for purchasing them. I haven't worked that out yet, but we'll have some way for you to buy those if you're still interested in a sketchbook. But the classes are just available for a few more days. Thanks again. Bye.